Okay, so we're going to do question 4.3 now. So again, we are given a utility function u as a function of y equal to log of y. Okay, where log over here is the log to the base of 10. Okay, right, and y is the total amount of money that the player is going to have. Basically the player is having 10,000 to spend on the trip. Okay, it's the consumer, and if he's spending all of it, his utility is going to be utility of 10,000, which is log of 10,000, and that is going to be equal to 4. Okay, so question asking you if there is a 25% that the consumer is going to lose 1,000 of his cash on the trip, what is going to be his trip expected utility? Okay, so we say that with the probability of 25%, so probability of 1/4, the consumer is going to lose $1,000 of cash on the trip. So therefore, his income in the case of loss is going to be equal to 10,000 minus $1,000 of cash. So that's going to be equal to 9,000. Okay. Now with the probability of basically 3/4, then he's not going to lose anything. Okay, so therefore the income of not losing anything, no loss, that's going to be 10,000 still. Okay, because he doesn't lose anything. So therefore his expected utility for the trip is going to be the probability of loss multiplied by the utility of loss plus the probability of no loss multiplied by the utility of no loss. Okay, so therefore it's going to be 1/4. Now the utility of loss is going to be the log of the income of loss. Okay, plus 3/4. The utility of no loss is going to be log of the income in the case of no loss. Okay, so we know the income in each of the case. We should be able to find out the expected utility. So that is going to be 1/4 log of 9,000, which is the amount of money in case of loss, and 3/4 log of the income in case of no loss, which is 10,000 still. Okay, and that is going to give the consumer an expected utility of 3.988. Okay, so that's the expected utility for the trip. Now, question telling you, suppose that now the consumer wants to buy an insurance against the loss. Okay, so against losing $1,000. So basically buying a traveler checks. Okay, which is at a premium, at a fair premium of $250. Question asking you to show that the utility for the consumer is going to be higher if he purchases the insurance compared to the case where he's facing the chance of losing $1,000 without the insurance. Okay, so we already found the expected utility for the consumer if he doesn't have any insurance, which is basically means that if he is facing the chance of losing $1,000 in part A. Okay, so we say that without insurance, the expected utility for the consumer is 3.988 we found in part A. Okay, now with the insurance, we try to find out what is going to be the utility for the consumer. Okay, so with the insurance, now what the consumer, in the case of loss, the consumer is going to get $1,000 back. Okay, so basically he is not going to lose anything. Okay, the only thing he will have to pay is the $250 for the insurance. Okay, so in the case of loss, with a probability of 1/4, which is the case of loss, the income of loss for the consumer is going to be $10,000, okay, minus $1,000 of loss. However, he's going to get $1,000 back from the insurance company, and he will have to pay $250 for the insurance. So his income is going to be 9,750. Okay, so that's in the case of loss. Okay, now in the case of no loss, with a probability of 3/4, the income in the case of no loss is going to be 10,000. Now consumer doesn't lose anything, so doesn't get anything back from the insurance company. However, the consumer will still have to pay 250 for the insurance premium. Okay, so basically it doesn't matter whether the consumer is going to be losing or not. He will have to pay the insurance amount to make sure that he is covered in the case of loss. Okay, so therefore his income is 9,750 as well. Okay, so the expected utility for the consumer with the insurance, okay, so I'll say this is with the insurance, it's going to be equal to 1/4 times the utility of loss plus 3/4 times the utility of no loss. Okay, so that is basically mean 1/4 times log of income in the case of loss plus 3/4 log of the income in the case of no loss. Okay. Alright, so in the case of loss, it's going to be 9,750, and it's exactly the same income for the case of loss, for the case of no loss. Okay, and this is happening because the consumer is fully insured by the insurance company. Okay, so therefore he will get exactly the same amount under the case of loss or no loss. Alright, so therefore it's going to give us a log of 9,750, and that is going to be 3.989. Okay, so therefore as you compare this expected utility from the case of insurance compared to the expected utility under the case of no insurance, you can see that the expected utility under the case of insurance is a little bit bigger than the expected utility without the insurance. Okay. Alright, now part C asking you what is the maximum amount that the consumer will be willing to pay to insure his $1,000. Okay, so we try to find out what is the maximum he'll be willing to pay in order to make sure that he doesn't face any risk. Okay, any risk. So I'll let P, okay, the premium on the insurance, okay, that consumer will have to pay. Okay, is willing to pay. Okay, so I'll let this is the maximum. Okay, so the maximum premium that the consumer is willing to pay for the insurance. So in the case of loss again, okay, with the probability of a quarter. Now the insurance, the consumer's income in the case of loss is going to be 10,000 minus 1,000 of loss. However, because he already buy an insurance, he's going to get $1,000 back from the insurance company, and he will have to pay P, which is the premium amount on the insurance. So it's going to be 10,000 minus P. Now in the case of no loss, with the probability of 3/4, income in the case of no loss is going to be 10,000. He doesn't lose anything, therefore he doesn't get anything back from the insurance company. However, he will still have to pay the premium on the insurance, which is P. Okay, so therefore, the expected utility under the case of insurance in this case is going to be equal to 1 on 4 log of 10,000 minus P plus 3 on 4 the utility of no loss, which is log of 10,000 minus P as well. Okay, so that is going to give me 1 on, sorry, this is going to give me log of 10,000 minus P. So that's the expected utility that the consumer is going to get from buying the insurance. Now, if he doesn't buy insurance, what would happen? Okay, so as we found earlier, okay, without insurance, his expected utility with no insurance is 3.988. Okay. So therefore, the maximum that the consumer is willing to pay for the insurance is going to be the amount such that the expected utility he gets from the insurance is going to be equal to the expected utility that he gets from having no insurance. Okay, he wouldn't want to pay more than that. He wouldn't want to pay such an amount that with the insurance he will get a lower expected utility than without the insurance. Okay, so therefore the maximum amount premium, okay, that the consumer is willing to pay okay, is the amount such that his expected utility from the insurance is going to be equal to expected utility from the no insurance. Okay, he wouldn't want to pay higher price for the premium such that expected utility from the insurance is smaller than expected utility from the no insurance. So the maximum he's willing to pay is up to the amount that will make the expected utility he gets from having the insurance equal to the expected utility that he will get from having no insurance. Okay, so therefore this is just going to be the log of 10,000 minus P, and that will be equal to the expected utility of no insurance, which is 3.988. Okay, so now if I raise both sides of this equation to the power of 10, okay, to get rid of the log, I am going to get 10,000 minus P is going to be equal to 10 to the power of 3.988. Okay, and that is going to be equal to 9,727.5. So therefore, amount P maximum that the consumer willing to pay is going to be 10,000 minus this. It's going to give you 272.5. Alright, so part D, suppose that people who buy insurance tend to become more careless with the cash, okay, with their cash, than who don't, and assumes that the probability of their losing $1,000 going to become 30%. Okay, so question asking you what is going to be the fair insurance premium, and will the consumer buy the insurance in this situation? Okay, so it makes sense that whenever you already buy an insurance, you become more careless. Okay, you do not care about losing the money, because every time you are losing the money, the insurance company is going to pay you back. So therefore, you tend to become more careless with the money. So yeah, so that is going to increase the chance of you losing your money to 30%. And the question asking you, if the chance of losing money is 30%, what is going to be the fair insurance premium? Okay, so the fair insurance premium is going to be the premium that equal to the probability of loss times the amount of loss. Okay, so in this case, the probability of loss is now 30%, so that is 0.3 times the amount of loss, which is $1,000, so that should be 300. Okay, so therefore the fair premium price for such an insurance to cover $1,000 loss in this case should be $300. Now, will the consumer be buying the insurance in this situation? So basically, given that now the premium is 300, will the consumer want to buy it? Okay, so okay, so we already found earlier that the consumer will only be happy to pay up until the price equal to 272.5. Okay, he doesn't care about being more careless. Okay, he doesn't care about him being careless that is going to increase the chance of losing. What he's going to be willing to pay is the amount of money over here, which is basically calculated on the chance of losing the money that he is aware of. Okay, so he know that with 25% of the chance he's going to lose the money, and this is the maximum amount that he's willing to pay. Okay, so if the company is charging a price of 300, the consumer will not buy the insurance from the company, even though the price is fair. Okay, so we say that from part C, we found that the maximum amount that the consumer is willing to pay, okay, for the insurance is P equal to 272.5. Okay, and so therefore the price they're willing to pay is smaller than the 300. So therefore when the premium equal to 300, the consumer will not buy the insurance. Okay, so I'll say when premium, so it's not going to be confusing. Okay, so if the premium is 300, then the consumer will refuse to buy the insurance because it's more than whatever he's willing to pay. Okay, so when the premium is 300, consumer will not buy the insurance, even though the premium will just be a fair premium to reflect the true probability of losing from the consumer. Okay, so even though the insurance is fair. Alright.